in the Sunday calendar section of the Washington Post, the Washington Post magazine section, there was apparently a cartoon that was already in print. So as it was coming out, the Washington Post issued a preemptive apology, which is hilarious. All right, first let me read you the apology. No, you know what? Take a look at the cartoon as I'm reading you the apology, and then I'll explain what the cartoon's about. All right? The headline, illustration and text of Below the Beltway, a column, the Washington Post magazine today, may cause offense to readers. The magazine was printed before a widely publicized incident last week in which a chimpanzee attacked a badly mauled woman in Stamford, Connecticut. In addition, the image and text inadvertently may conjure racial stereotypes that the Post does not countenance. We regret the lapse. So, now the question is, the cartoon you just saw there, is it offensive? And should there have been preemptive apology for it? Well, what is it? What's the story attached to, right? You have a chimpanzee, apparently, or some sort of ape, a simian, if you will, carrying away a young lady, and a man appears to be grief-stricken by that because his advances were thwarted. Now, the story that is related to it is actually really interesting. They showed pictures of different sexual situations to men and women. They asked men, hey, are you straight or gay? And they would say, okay, I'm straight. And then they'd show them pictures of straight people having sex. And the men would, because they were attached to, this is a research study, they were attached to wires, etc., they would get aroused. And they would show pictures or video of gay men having sex, and the straight men would not get aroused. Hey, look at that, they're actually honest. Will you look at that? And the gay men would get aroused by the gay pictures, but not the straight pictures. But the interesting part of the study was, they would ask women, are you straight, gay, whatever, and they would answer whatever. And then they would proceed to get turned on by everything. It turns out the men were honest and the women were not. But what was even more interesting is, not only were women turned on by images of straight sex and gay sex, but they were also turned on by pictures of bonobos having sex. Yes, those are monkeys, apes. Well, some form of apes. So that's why they put up this cartoon, where it says, hey, look, the women are turned on even by the monkeys. And the man is sitting there left holding the flowers. Now, is this offensive, first of all? I don't think so. Why is that offensive? It's not referring to any specific person. It doesn't have anything to do with black men or white men or Asian men. It refers to the study where the women were turned on by the bonobos, which continues to be hilarious every time I say it. Okay? Now, what is offensive, very ironically, if you ask me, is the apology. There was no racial undertones here, but the apology puts racial undertones on it. Because nobody ever said that they compared that chimp to a black guy. Chimps have been compared to all different kinds of people before. I mean, look, George Bush was compared to a chimp all the time. There's a major blog called Smirking Chimp about George Bush. So if it wasn't referring to African Americans, why did you apologize over it? You see what I'm saying? I mean, look at the apology again. They say, in addition, the image and text inadvertently may conjure racial stereotypes that the Post does not countenance. We regret the lapse. So did you mean it? Man, that's weird. See, this is people getting carried away. This is an overreaction. This is people who are like, I don't want to offend anybody. I'm so scared. I'm so scared. So does that mean we can't have a chimpanzee in any cartoon for the rest of the time? All right, J.R. Jackson, regulate for me here.
Well, it doesn't make any sense. You can't even say the apology would conjure any racial tones because this study had absolutely nothing to do with race. 0%.
Nothing. Never mentioned it. Neither did the story.
Yeah. So what it tells me is that people don't even understand what the first scandal or whatever you want to call it, the fallout was about. No one even. How do you get that from? They go, oh my God, if we put a monkey in a picture, that means there's a problem. No, man, you have to say something too.
But you know what? Look, it goes towards two possible things. One is through the roof political correctness. Like they're so scared of saying anything that they're just like on PC DEFCON 5, right? But what did I tell you? I said we can't label everything racist because people are going to overreact and they're going to get defensive. And look, this is a perfect example of it. Like, no, I'm sorry about the chimpanzee. I'm so sorry. I'm not a racist, right? The second possibility is, ironically, the reaction is racist. Like, why did you assume that the chimp had a racial, angle to it? I don't assume that at all. And in fact, I know because you're apologizing because of what happened to the New York Post, but I don't get it otherwise. I mean, JR, doesn't it seem kind of racist to say that there are racial undertones here?
No, I can't call it racist because it doesn't even make any sense. It's just they're reaching for an apology so they won't have to get any outcry over it in the first place. And actually, it kind of validates even more what Eric Holder was saying. We're so afraid of it. We're punk asses in this country to talk about it, so we still don't want to talk about it. What they want to do is they want to apologize and say, "Oh, I'm sorry," and just cover up their ears and not hear anything. If they listen to what people are saying, they would understand why certain things could be seen as a racist thing to say or a racist cartoon. If you're clueless to how anything could possibly be racist when referring to black folks as monkeys, then you should probably listen to somebody every once in a while. If you don't listen, you're never going to know. You're just going to assume something. Oh, so I think if I do this, black people are going to get crazy mad at me. How do you know? How about you talk to one?
I know. And I can't believe that they did the preemptive apology without checking with anybody. And I can't believe if you're an African American, you would look at that cartoon and find it offensive in any way. I just don't see it, right? So, look, don't get me wrong. I'm not calling the Washington Post racist for the preemptive apology. I'm saying, if anything, their apology makes the situation worse. Because, again, I don't want to call anybody racist and scare them, so then they do another preemptive apology for referring to a chimpanzee in another article, not even a cartoon. I bet they do. I bet somebody writes chimpanzee in some article and apologizes for it. Okay. You're allowed to do stories on chimpanzees. They're real, animals and creatures that exist, and there's news stories about them every once in a while.